Welcome back to Crop Talk with Karston. My name is Karston Donovan, and we all get to take a slight bit of collective breath together after the busy month that September is in the crop insurance world, with harvest finishing up and claims being worked and premium being due, and trying to make decisions for the upcoming crop year by the sales closing deadline, all while from the farmer's mindset, obviously they're still trying to finish up harvest and seeding and spraying and all that. So take a slight bit of collective breath together. And one question we typically always get this time of year is ECO and SCO going to pay? And ultimately, we don't know that answer. And it's hard to kind of give you an exact, this is what your policy is going to pay, because we don't know. But these slides are just going to help give you a little bit of information to help kind of you decide on your own of whether or not you think you can expect a payment. So full disclaimer off of this is just keep in mind that these numbers are not final. Ultimately, I'm just kind of trying to show you what it needs to be or below in order to start seeing payment. And ultimately, you can decide for yourself of whether or not you think, that county will trigger a payment for ECO and SCO. So the final area yields are not going to be released for most crops until May 15th, sometimes a few days before, but they have until at least May 15th. Therefore, we're not going to know how much ECO, SCO, or margin protection would pay, or if they pay out at all. So these slides are just designed to be educational. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention is that you can reference your schedule of insurance. Like if you think ECO is going to pay in full, you could look at that liability amount on your schedule of insurance, and that would tell you down to the dollar how much you would get if it paid in full. Of course, if it's just a partial payment or 50% payment, you would get 50% off of that. So when we get into it, let's take a look at the winter wheat in Hill County. So the projected price for winter wheat in 2025 was $6, and the harvest price was $5.05. So saw quite a decrease there, which is going to kind of cause the possibility for ECO and possibly SCO to trigger a payment, because the expected area yield for wheat in Hill County being 32, and after that price decrease, we would need to have the harvest yield for the county be under 36 in order to start seeing a payment for winter wheat in Hill County. In 2024, for reference, the final area yield is 40.1. So, if you think it was the same as last year, that would mean that we're not going to see a payment. If you think it's a little bit less because maybe not quite as good yields or hail hit the county a little bit more, then maybe we would be at a partial ECO payment. As we take a look at spring wheat, because we didn't see quite as big of a decrease percentage-wise from the projected price of $6.55 down to the harvest price of $5.70 like we did in winter wheat, that final area yield would need to be a little bit less, so 34.9 in Hill County, in order to start triggering a payment for ECO. So as we take a look at Liberty County, same projected price and harvest price, of course. Looking at winter wheat first, that final area yield would need to be at or below 39.3 to start seeing a payment. So if you reference that to the 2024 final area yield of 30.9, if you think it's similar to what last year was, even if it's a little bit higher, we could see some pretty substantial payments for ECO and SCO in Liberty County. As we take a look at spring wheat in Liberty County, they would need to be at or below 38 in order to start seeing a payment. And then as we take a look at Blaine County, the expected area yield was 29.3 for the 25 crop year. So that means the final area yield would need to be at or below 33 in order to start triggering a payment for winter wheat. And last year, for reference, that final area yield for Blaine County was 32.9. So if it was exactly what it was last year, we'd see very small payments, and if it was below, we'll see higher and higher payment triggers. If you take a look at spring wheat in Blaine County, it would need to be at or below 31.9 in order to start triggering a payment. Taking a look at Choteau County, the harvest yield would need to be at or below 54.5, and for reference, the 24 final area yield was 53.2. So just kind of guessing off of the Choteau County, off of the hail maps primarily, I would say Choteau County arguably got hit with hail as a county as a whole more than maybe the past three that we've been looking at. But so I don't know if essentially the final area yield will be at quite what it was last year, but you never know until that information is released. So as we take a look at the spring wheat in Choteau County, it would need to be at or below 52.7 in order to start triggering a payment. So that looks at all of them. If you have any questions, obviously I just took a look at wheat and there was a lot of other crops out there. For some of the pulses, it's hard to give you an idea just because we don't know what that harvest price would be at. And I guess I didn't include barley in this, but if you have questions and you want to know, please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to talk. So hope you guys have a great weekend and thanks for joining us.